Hi, my name is Jay Bhagat. I'm going to be filling out the AI engineer submission form, and I'm going to be following the CFP advice from Swix. I'm making this video because a lot of people don't apply to speak at conferences, and a lot of times it's scary. So I'm just going to walk through me going through filling out my CFP and just talking about all my insecurities in public, as well as like following the advice, getting out of my head, and hitting submit. Okay, great. So first I put my name in, put my email, so that's easy, get the easy thing done. Now for a session topic, Swix has really good advice on the session topic. Typically what I do is I need a little bit of assistance of saying like, what does he say about titles? Even though I see that I could click it, I'm just lazy. And sometimes my brain is scattered, so I want to see it in two places. Okay, so I'm gonna read this real quick. All right, great. So it's saying like treat it as it's like twice as important as everything else. So like I know level of priority is gonna be my highest thing. It's the frog. So short, memorable, specific titles work. Okay. Coining a catchy phrase. All right, so I think my title, AI for Science Mob Coding Workshop, that misses the bar. Okay, so now let's fix it. All right, so the way I'm gonna fix it is get context of what they do, because it's not about me. Okay, so I'm just gonna read all the titles and see what the difference is. So this is building with agents. This is kind of like for a launch, or like kind of education from like a leading lab. This is very specific in the title. This is building oriented. Let me click on the full playlist. Yeah, so it's either the specific tool name and then workshop. It could be 101 if the person is of high caliber. Verb. Breakdown if you're intellectual. All right, so I'm leading with a verb. So yeah, if I do this, building AI for Science, a mob coding workshop, and then I'm just gonna use that because I'm not gonna do that much better. Actually, let me just ask the AI real quick. What do you think about this? Give me 3 variations and why. All right, so I should get a quick answer to just double check because this is twice as important. No, these seem corny. So what I'm gonna do is, it seems like it just has rotten context. I'm just gonna edit this and say previous titles are, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna Control A into there, and AI is like powerful enough for this stuff now, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna say previous titles are, and then try again. I think this is the wrong one, but it's on mob coding workshop. Build your first, no, wrong. Okay, so now it's still missing context, and now it's almost as if I should have just done the thinking myself, which I will. If I don't kind of hit it on this try, I'll have to pause. Yeah, now I'm just gonna pause because this is gonna be a shitty answer, and if I just read it, I'll do a little better. Alright, I think this is good enough. I'm just coming to that conclusion. I think a lot of times it's so easy for me to second guess myself, because there is this thing that's smarter than me, and I want to ask it for help. So I just kind of want to point and call that out. Alright, next is the description. I think that's the next important part. So in this, I'm gonna get just straight into what I'm doing and explain what the workshop will do. I think I have an advantage because it's a workshop, and then I'm an instructional designer, which means I'm qualified to do the workshop. So I like that in the first couple of words it like implies that, but let me just double check. All right, so now I just got to the page. I'm not going to keep this open anymore because I think the last time it had shitty advice. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I notice here is that there's a tastemaker that's involved. So I'm like, I would probably want to run this through the tastemaker and just see a quick diff. I don't want to change my words because then I find that like I can't get this level of authenticity out in words if I use AI. I kind of have to just like make sure that they know it's just like me and the way I talk, I think. Okay, I forgot I had this magical thing right here. I think this whole exercise would have been different. I just opened up this little extension right here. I do have to say, Anthropic is like making things that are just so delightful. Like, it's a bit of an anti-pattern, I think, because they make it so you want to use it more and more when you really shouldn't. All right. I'm just gonna be like, yo, grade this on his taste and show it. And then one of my things is I'm like, I don't want it to rewrite my words, but I'm like, I'm gonna ask it to show it to me like it's a get diff, so then I can just see the differences in the lines, and then I can ask for comments based on the blocks of the deltas. Cool. So I'm gonna let that run. Opus takes a while. All right, so Claude clicked out of the form and all my answers are gone. We're gonna have to redo this. So be careful with Claude in the browser because there's this thing called draft state, which is when the user puts in a lot of information and it can easily be wiped away by certain actions like moving away from a tab. You know, everyone doesn't have good patterns for managing this, and also like kind of everyone doesn't want to take up that space, so it's always a bad pattern. The thing I will say is that I asked for this get diff, and like it gave me some comments, and I started reading through it, and you know, and then it gave me a little bit of a summary on where things could be better, and I was like, all right, now show me a rewrite. Normally I wouldn't ask for one, but it is doing this pretty well so far, I have to say. It renamed the workshop to something better than what I would have did, mob coding with Gemma, build something that matters. So I think that's really strong. And then I think the brand new abstract, let's take a look at that. So it's not changing me too much, which I think is good. So I'm gonna read it real quick out loud. Jai will instructionally design a mob coding workshop where a room of people will attempt to use a frontier medical model to solve a problem that is oh no, this is the original, which is me. Oh no, now it's doing this, which is like 2 AI. No, I don't want to do this. And I don't think that this one is going to be appreciated, so I'm going to pause. Okay, so I think what I don't like about this is that this is presumptuous, being like, hey, like I'm going to tell you what we're going to work on, and I think that's not the vibe of the room. So I like what I had before. Learner. Alright, but my words still aren't clear enough, so now I'm gonna have to do more work here because this is just not passable right now. Okay, so now I see why Claude was trying to do it that way, like state what the problem is, state what the solution is, and what the audience will learn from the talk. But it's saying 3 to 5 sentences max. Oh, but that's advice from someone else, but I think I'm going to follow that because I think that's going to help me. Okay, so I filled out problem, solution, and what they will learn, and then I'm going to have to dress this up a little bit. So it says problem, we're fumbling a generational opportunity. That's weak. That's not what we want to do. We'll fix it later. Solution: teaching software engineers and builders how they can build and experiment with frontier medical models. Good. Good enough. And then what they will learn, this is my core value, is I'm an instructional designer. So this progressively goes up Bloom's verbs, which you can see right here. How do I guide you in this succession so that you can truly say that you have a skill? So what we're going to first do is identify problem spaces. There's about 8 companies that are highlighted, and so we can, we'll be able to identify the problem space. I'll just demo that real quick. So I have these 8 companies which I kind of have on my radar for just kind of tracking the science, technology, engineering, math kind of space for frontier models. And just like really focusing on science. So that's where we'll identify problem spaces from those companies, then understand where your skills can help where these companies currently are at. Then we're going to apply coding agent instructions, with MedGemma, something that I have prepared. We'll mob code on that. And then as we go around, we're going to kind of see how people are going to talk about how we're going to go about the problem. Also evaluating mindsets and what's going to happen when you run into foot guns, what's going to happen when you say I think this is possible or I don't think this is possible, because we're just gonna turn on Ralph Wiggum mode and he'll run for a while, right? Like, we don't really know what's gonna happen, so we're gonna have enough space to talk, so we can talk about mindsets, and then we can have enough of a chance to evaluate the personal feasibility, saying, hey, I may be able to contribute in this way, because there's a chance someone may be a product manager today, but maybe they want to go to one of these companies and switch into a different role, maybe switch into a particular scope like product marketing and solve a smaller problem there first. So you never know where people are going to be at for what their next thing is. So kind of, I want people thinking about feasibility, and then lastly, formulating an opinion on the viability of engineers contributing to scientific initiatives, like changing people's mindset, saying, yes, I can apply these skill sets. It is worth it, and it is worth it to do it. All right, great. So now we have a good enough description. Science need more engineers. In this hands-on workshop, you will learn how software builders can meaningfully contribute to scientific research using frontier medical models like MedGemma. Through mob coding, we'll identify real problem spaces in healthcare, apply coding agents to solve them, and evaluate whether this work is right for you. You'll leave with a working prototype, a clearer sense of where your skills fit in scientific acceleration, and your own informed opinion on the viability of engineers driving research forward. Lovely. Workshop. Special flags, none. I wish, that's okay. One day. All right. So I'm gonna say it's this. I'm gonna say it is also AI in education because I'm a teacher. But then let's get AI in science. Type in science. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's see. Want to tag things correctly. Okay, we'll have to pick this one right here because that's the closest one. All right. Now we have to do a speaker pitch, and then I have to re-get my old links for what I've done. So let me re-get the old links just because at this point, in case you're curious about who I am. Love me some Ember.js. AI's been a wild ride for that, but I think I'm so grateful for everything I learned. Okay, great. Let me grab that link. So I really have to credit that, because otherwise I wouldn't have known about proper programming principles, and then learning Ruby later was so easy for me because I knew Ember. Okay, grab that link. boom, and then comma, and then 1 second, let me go back. It's always good to, try to Google yourself, right? And see what comes up. And it is nice. There's a couple likes there, There we go. Boom. All right, now I gotta write this speaker pitch. So I'm gonna re-reference the docs. Okay, so it doesn't say it here, but I think there's somewhere else I can go. So I think this may be the kind of format. So I have two examples right here. I can't copy Sarah's because I'm not at that level. Let me take a look at this though. So now this is more of an explainer of what I do. So this one is going to be probably more similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this. And so what I'm going to do is this has memory of me. And so I'm going to ask it to write the speaker pitch, and then I'm going to give it the format just to make it easy for me. But then I'm also asking for an extra layer of help me see the taste level, so then I can just have a shortcut for thinking about that. So name, role, title, and have that as that. So I think I kind of want to market myself as a hacker observer. So I'm not gonna be able to really compete like that, just because I'm on my own. I don't have any big company behind me. So let me take a look at my options. I like the format where it's like name, role title, recent high impact work with numbers, credibility signal, where to find me. So I'm just gonna follow that format because I know myself. All right, great. So I'm gonna say role and title. I'm gonna say teacher. Okay, and then recent high impact work with numbers. Teaching cohorts of 100 plus small business owners. So the recent high impact work with numbers is going to be based on something I do locally with a local organization. So I'm going to have to figure out how to effectively say that, because that's where I always kind of trip myself up on words. Okay, so I put mine together and I like mine rather than what this is going to say, and I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but I did follow this format of name, I'm Jay Bhagath, role title, I'm a hacker and a teacher, I don't have a big brand name because it's just me, and then recent high impact work. So I'm gonna lead with like the time I put in. So I spent 2.5 years teaching AI locally to small businesses via economic development corporations and local networks. So that's kind of like that's the work I put in. Jai has designed curriculums for Jai has designed curriculums for universities and taught at Parsons School of Design. So then that's my credibility signal. But then I put in like a little bit more towards the end that, I'm working creatively to solve Bloom's 2 Sigma problem, and check out my free companion workbooks at grow.chaivajai.com. And so you kind of see I'm just like a hacker. Teaching is the love of my life. This is a dog pursuit. So I'm trying to say that without in the correct way for a CFP. Okay, great. Amazing. Just fill that out. I'm gonna say teacher, hacker. Okay. Yeah, I know I'm typing this like a peasant. I could be using voice mode. I could be using every optimization, but I'm just a normal guy. All right, cool. So I see this is here. I know that these are good. Normally you want to double check links, but you only have so much time. I wrote the pitch myself. I think it's fine. There was no guidance on the original post about that. I picked the correct things. And remember, what are the priorities? right? This is twice as important. So mob coding with Gemma, build something that matters. Great. I think that they're going to appreciate that. Then we followed problem, solution, and what you're going to walk away with. Science needs more engineers. In this hands-on workshop, you will learn how software builders can meaningfully contribute to scientific research using frontier medical models like MedGemma. Through mob coding, we'll identify real problem spaces. Boom. Okay, hacker and teacher. So then it's going to say, maybe inside of here, I will say instructional designer. Just because I do think that the people who are reviewing this are going to be familiar with developer relations, and I think a lot of times they do hire people who are actual instructional designers because you orchestrate the experience. So that's the only edit I'm going to make. All right, it's time to send this off. Wish me luck, and then hopefully you see this and you try to apply to a conference too.